Hi everyone, my name is Jeffrey Lee and welcome to the 6th episode where I talk about my book, Fur Trades and Human Civilizations. Today we're going to continue with the second chapter, going over sections 2.4 and the first 2/3 of section 2.5, and hopefully next week we'll be able to wrap up the entire chapter. In this chapter, we'll continue talking about Russian expansion, starting in 2.4 with the Kamchatka Peninsula and the Kuril Islands. So first, let's just give a bit of context about the Kamchatka people and the area they belong to. So the Kamchatka people belong to a Paleo-Asiatic ethnic group and have long been settled on the Kamchatka Peninsula. The earliest known mention of the Kamchatka Peninsula appears in a Chinese historical text, New Book of Tang, which is referred to as Liu Guiguo. The Kamchatka's people's main occupation is fishing, supplemented by hunting seals and sables and gathering roots and berries, as opposed to agriculture. In addition, they live in clan-based communities where they shared resources such as land, water, and pastures communally, while maintaining a matrilineal clan structure. According to Russian historians, the expeditions led by Fyodor Alexeyevich Popov and Semyon Dizhnev sailed from the Arctic Ocean in the Pacific. When they reached the Anandar River, Popov's fate is unknown. The legend suggests his ship may have reached the Kamchatka Peninsula, where he was allegedly killed by the Koryak people. The term Kamchatka first appeared in Russian documents in 1667 in a Siberian cartographic description, marking a river flowing into the ocean in Siberia. Later, in 1695, Cossack officer Vladimir Atlasov was appointed governor of Anadrsk by the Yakutsk governor. In 1696, Atlasov sent Cossack Luka Moravsko with a 16-man team to explore the Kamchatka Peninsula. The expedition then divided into two groups, and the eastern group faced a mutiny from the Yukagirs, resulting in the death of 3 Cossacks. Later, Atlasov's group crossed the Central Mountains and followed the Shanuk River to its confluence with the Kamchatka River, where they encountered a densely populated area with about 160 Kamchatka villages, each housing around 200 people. They brought back tribute, including 330 sable pelts, 191 red fox pelts, 10 dark gray wolf fox pelts, and 10 sea otter pelts, which were previously unknown to the Russians. After reporting these findings, explorations in this region increased because they could increase Russia's wealth through fur and walrus ivory. Similar to the Kamchatka Peninsula, the Kuril Islands are located directly south of this region. Atlasov found shipwrecked Japanese sailors on the Kamchatka Peninsula, and Peter the Great personally met with one of these to learn about Japan's geography, culture, customs, politics, and military. They ordered a search of these new lands, and that's how they discovered the Kuril Islands. They then expanded the sea route from the Kamchatka Peninsula to Japan, and then they mapped all 29 islands of the Kuril chain and naming them. They found that there were many sea otter pelts located in the Kuril Islands, which could be traded for a large amount. They also produced walrus ivory, and these also helped make money for the Russian government. So now let's talk about section 2.5, southward expansions. Let's start by giving a bit of context. The Baikal Lake and the Outer Mongolia region are located at relatively low latitudes, with a temperate climate and abundant resources, providing essential supplies for the lives of military and civilian personnel in harsh and barren lands of Siberia. So first, starting with Lake Baikal, this first appeared in the Chinese historical records in the Book of Han biography of Suwu, where it is referred to as the North Sea. The Lake Baikal region centers around the lake itself and extends northward to include the upper reaches of the Angara River, a tributary of the Yenisei River. And in addition, the primary inhabitants of this region were Mongols, which were referred to the Russians as Buryats. So in 1609, the government of Tomsk, located on the Tom River, dispatched a military expedition to the Minsk Basin with the aim of subjugating the local Alin and Zisar people, vassals of the Buryats, and collecting a fur tax with them. However, they were defeated, and they continued to send expeditions to gain intelligence on the area. At the time, Tsarist Russia faced a silver shortage, and they were eager to find new silver mines inspired by discoveries in Japan and the Americas. As a result, they wanted to expand to new areas to see if they could have silver, and they continued expanding throughout the entire river system. At the same time, Tsarist Russia was advancing toward Lake Baikal via the Lena River, and the governor of Yakutsk sent Vasily Vlasev to lead an expedition by sleigh to the Buryat village on the Keringa River, which resulted in a conflict with the Buryats. Finally, the first Russians to enter the eastern part of Lake Baikal were led by Maxim Bereferev, who reached the Tisza River via the Vitim River in 1640, learning about the Amur River basin from locals. In 1644, Vasily Kresnikov led 100 Cossacks from Yeniseisk to explore silver mines. They then continued the search for silver mines in the territory of Chishan Khan, one of the four khanates of Khalkha Mongolia in China. In 1646, the government of Yeniseisk sent Ivan Pokubov with 84 men to explore Lake Baikal. In 1647, Pokubov crossed Lake Baikal and explored Sling and Uda rivers on the southern shore, clashing with the Mongols. In 1653, Peter Beketov explored the Selinga and Cheluk rivers, establishing Urgensky Fort at the watershed between the Cheluk and Ingonda rivers. Beketov also sent Yulosov to cross the watershed to the mouth of the Nerchinsk River, establishing a fort there in 1654, marking the end of Tsarist Russia into the Amur River basin. To consolidate control over the Lake Baikal region, Russia built Bolonsky Fort in 1654, 6 kilometers upstream from the convergence of the Angara and Oka rivers. It was located in the center of the Belagan steppe, guarding the fertile lands around it. In 1666, they established Uda winter camp at the mouth of the Uda River, later renamed Ulan Ude in 1689. In 1676, the Russians built Yarovinsky Fort at Lake Yarovna, using it as a base to harass and expel the local Buryats, forcing the Salvins to migrate south. The Russians created a network of forts around Lake Baikal to consolidate their control and establish routes into Amur River basin. And for example, one route went down the southern shore of Lake Baikal through Bakarzinski Forest across the watershed to reach Nerchinsk. After over approximately 50 years of fort construction and camp establishments, the first Russian exploration of Lake Baikal, Tsarist Russia eradicated Mongol tribal rule in the region and solidified long-term control over the local Mongols. But yeah, that was Lake Baikal. Now let's talk about the Black Dragon River, Ursuri River, and Outer Khingan Mountains, also known as the Amur region. From 1616, Tsar Mikhail Fyodorovich sent envoys to the Mongol tribes along the Irtysh River to inquire about routes to China, and in 1618 he sent Petrov on a mission to China. In 1643, Vasily Danilovich Poyarkov traveled along the Aldan River and its tributaries, the Ircha River and the Gonum River, reaching the Stanivor Range. Later, they traded with the Chinese for silks, cloth, and iron goods, and also paid tribute to the Qing dynasty with furs. Poyarkov's expedition engaged in battles with the Dors and faced severe food shortages, resorting to cannibalization of natives for survival. In May 1644, supply boats from the Gonum River camp arrived, and over 70 men from Poyarkov's party continued down the Zaya River, frequently clashing with the Dars. Later on, they continued down the river to explore the mouth of the Amur River, leading them to the confluence of the Amur and Ussuri rivers, and then continued to the Amur's mouth at the Strait of Tartary, located between the Eurasian continent and Sakhalin Island. Poyarkov's team learned from the local Koryak people about Sakhalin Island and the Mishi people living there, realizing that Sakhalin was an island separated by a strait. Poyarkov reported to the Russian authorities in Yakutsk of the routes, customs, resource, politics, and climate of the Amur River basin, highlighting the significant benefits of occupying the region and the minimum investment required. At the time, Tsarist Russia was continually expanding in Siberia, but most of the region was high-latitude, cold, forested grassland or permafrost, with little arable land. As a result, the Amur River, with its rich, vast, resource-rich lands, it was the ideal target for expansion. At the same time, various Russian expeditions infiltrated the Amur River basin, gathering detailed information. In 1643, Grigory Vygotsky traveled from Yakutsk to the Alki Koma River and its upstream tributary. Russian Yerofey Khabarov was the first to launch the colonization of the Black Dragon River region. He was originally a farmer from Veliky Yuskov, ventured to Mangazia in 1628, and dared to explore the Piasina and Taimur Peninsula areas. By 1648, Dmitry Andreevich Frankbekov replaced Golovin as Yakutsk voivode. Realizing his insufficient strength, Khabarov left 50 Cossacks to guard the area and returned to Yakutsk with the remaining men in late May of 1650. In the fall of 1650, Khabarov returned to the Amur River basin, rejoining the 50 men he left behind. Over the next 3 years, Khabarov led multiple military campaigns in the region, and during the winter of 1650, his forces captured Albazin, conducting a raid southward beyond the Songhar River. The Russian incursions in the Amur River basin prompted a response from the Qing dynasty. In April 1652, Hayes, the commander of the Ninguta, led 2,000 cavalry equipped with cannons, flintlock guns, and landmines to attack Donetsk. During the battle, the Qing dynasty breached the walls and entered the town, killing or wounding nearly 100 Russians, almost leading to the Russians' collapse. In January 1653, Tsar Alexis I officially ordered the appointment of Privy Councillor Ivan Ivanovich Lobanov-Rostovsky as the commander to conquer the Black Dragon region. However, after failing to invade Black Dragon River from the north, Russia turned to invade from the west. From 1655, the Tsar's government appointed Bashkov to seize Black Dragon River. In 1566, Bashkov set out from Yenisek and reached Nerchinsk, after which he was appointed voivode of Nerchinsk, overseeing the invasion of the Black Dragon River. In the end, they chose to use outlaws for external warfare and encouraged them to atone for their crimes, a recurrent tactic in Russian history. For example, Yermak previously robbed merchants and diplomats, but later was important during the war. In 1665, Cherlovsky's group established a fortress at the old Yaksa site, plundering the region. In 1666, they invaded the Holombyr area, and in 1668, they raided the Zaya River. In 1669, they pillaged near Chichihar. By 1675, Cherlovsky men reached the Ninjiang basement. After burning Yaksa, the Qing troops withdrew to Aigun. When Tolbenzun retreated to Nerchinsk, he encountered a Russian reinforcement led by Scottish Avance Baton, comprising over 600 men from Yenisek. Following the signing of the Treaty of Nerchinsk, China and Russia maintained the agreed border for about 170 years until the mid-19th century. This region was very important for fur trade and was overall important in both Russian and Chinese history. The exploration of the Trans-Baikal region and these other different landmarks was thoroughly tested and developed. Once peace was achieved, extensive trade ensued. Both sides established direct contact, bypassing intermediaries from other tribes. They could trade fur for things like Chinese tea, silk, rhubarb, and porcelain, getting profits several times higher than selling fur directly. The Black Dragon River region provided a direct connection to the Pacific coast and low-latitude seaports like Vladivostok, offering Russia an outlet to the Far East. According to the Russian Ministry of Natural Resources, the Amur Oblast silver reserves account for 30% of the total reserves in the Russia Far East. The gold reserves are even more abundant. So yeah, that's it for today's video, and next week we'll talk about and wrap up chapter 2. So as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can always learn more about the book and buy it on Amazon. Thank you.